Chapter 316, Other Purpose. Jian Yun did not know what Jian Dongming's intention was, but her intuition told her that Jian Dongming had given her the exact same necklace as Lin Lanlan all of a sudden. It was definitely not a spur of the moment, and it was even more impossible for him to make up for his neglect of her for so many years. He knew that Lin Lanlan and she were incompatible, but he still gave her such a necklace? Furthermore, Lin Lanlan seemed to have appeared in front of her a little frequently these past 2 days. Yunduo, where is Liancheng? Wu Yangfei saw that Jian Yun was in a daze for no reason. She reached out her hand and shook in front of Jian Yun's eyes, changing the topic. In fact, Wu Yangfei also knew that Jian Dongming suddenly gave Jian Yun the necklace for a purpose, but she did not want to think about it deeply. In any case, in her opinion, other than Lin Rong's matter, Jian Dongming did not have any other intentions. Jian Yun had Huo Liancheng to take care of her, and she was not afraid of what Jian Dongming would do. Oh, he is on a business trip? Jian Yun came back to her senses. She lowered her head to look at the jewelry box. After thinking for a while, she still put it in her bag. No matter what her father's goal was, since he had already started to show goodwill, then he'll be looking for her soon. Jian Yun guessed right. Jian Dongming gave her this necklace because he needed her help. On the night she returned from the hospital, she received a phone call from Jian Dongming. Jian Yun had just talked to Huo Liancheng on the video call. He seemed to be in a bad mood there. When he saw her, his handsome face was cold. Clearly, he was still angry that she did not want to go on a business trip with him. Jian Yun carefully tried to please her, and only made him smile after a long time. Just as the call ended, Jian Dongming's phone call came in. Jian Yun looked at the caller ID and unconsciously frowned. Hello? Jian Yun picked up the phone and said calmly, Dad, Yunduo, are you asleep? Jian Dongming asked. No. Jian Yun lowered her eyes and stared at the shoes on the ground. She was stunned for a moment. How long had it been since her father talked to her in such a loving tone? Yunduo, father went to see your mother today. Jian Dongming did not beat around the bush and said directly, Did your mother give the necklace to you? This is specially custom made for you. It is a set of earrings that I gave you on your 20th birthday. Do you like it? Jian Yun's eyes suddenly twitched. She paused and then said, Yes, I like it. Jian Dongming also heard that Jian Yun's tone was really too calm. He was silent for a while and continued, Yunduo, do you hate that Dad neglected you all these years? Jian Yun did not say anything, but clenched her teeth tightly. Jian Dongming immediately sighed. Yunduo, this is Dad's fault. Dad apologizes to you. Don't be angry with Dad, okay? I'm not angry. Jian Yun's eyes were covered with a layer of fog, but it was not because of Jian Dongming's words that she was touched, but because she was disappointed. The bone-penetrating disappointment made her eyes hurt. If it was said that when she received the necklace, she still had a trace of fantasy, thinking that Jian Dongming only remembered that he still had her as his daughter. And now, hearing his deliberate gesture and fawning tone, she knew perfectly well that he had other intentions. That's right, she had already done the paternity test. In Jian Dongming's heart, he had already determined that she was not his daughter. How could he suddenly have a conscience and come to ask her for warmth? Dad, if you have anything to say, just say it. Jian Yun suddenly felt very tired. She pinched the space between her brows and sighed softly. Jian Dongming did not expect Jian Yun to be so direct. He was silent for a moment. On both sides of the phone, the atmosphere was a little awkward. Yunduo, in the past 20 years, how have Dad treated you? You know very well that Dad is in trouble now and wants to ask for your help. Jian Dongming did not take any detour and directly stated his purpose of coming. If you want me to withdraw my complaint, that is impossible. Jian Yun suddenly became angry. She did not understand why Jian Dongming was so loyal to Lin Rong. He was married to his mother but was so mean to his mother. Even now, he still wanted to protect Lin Rong? Yunduo, it is not this matter. Don't be angry. Jian Dongming quickly said. The police have investigated the matter clearly. She has committed a crime and she will be punished by the law. I will not force you to do such a thing. I am looking for you for something else. Jian Yun clenched her teeth and suppressed the anger in her heart. She said in a deep voice, Speak. Jian Dongming hesitated for a moment. He seemed to be considering how to speak. His tone was hesitant. You know, these few years the economy has not been good. My company's profits are not good. Now it is a little troublesome, so I think. Jian Yun could not help frowning when she heard that and said discontentedly, Dad, do you not want to give me and Mom money? No, I definitely won't go back on my promise in the divorce agreement. What I mean is, I want to sell the company to Huo Liancheng. Jian Dongming gritted his teeth and finally said it. Jian Yun's mouth twitched. She thought about it, but she did not expect Jian Dongming to have this goal. Dad, did you find the wrong person? You want to sell the company? Then you should go straight to him. Why me? Jian Yun was very confused, but at the same time her heart also jumped. Father actually wanted to sell the company that he and Mother started from scratch? What exactly did he want? Jian Dongming sighed. I told you, I looked for Huo Liancheng but I couldn't get in touch with him. I had no choice but to look for you. Jian Yun was silent for a while. Then she said, Dad, I will pass on your words to him. As for whether he will be willing to buy it, I can't guarantee it. Jian Dongming was overjoyed when he heard Jian Yun say she was willing to help. He said excitedly, Yun Duo, say a few more good words for Dad in front of President Huo. He is so rich. What Dad wants is only a drop in the bucket in his hands. You must be able to coax him more. Father, is there anything else? If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Jian Yun suddenly did not want to continue talking to Jian Dongming, especially after she heard that Huo Liancheng was so rich. Jian Yun also suddenly remembered that she had heard her mother say that the Jian family's company's profits would not be good after her mother left 6 years ago. In these few years, Jian Dongming still needed to raise Lin Rong's family of 3. Those 3 people were not easy to deal with. Just Lin Lanlan alone studying abroad cost a few $100,000 a year. In addition, she wanted to maintain the socialite industry, so all the expenses added together were almost $1 million. Lin Rong's son was also a person who had everything to eat, drink, and gamble. Therefore, Jian Dongming estimated that he did not have much savings left. That was why he wanted to sell the company to exchange for money. Good. It's already so late. You should go to bed early. You are so beautiful that Huo Liancheng likes you. Daddy will not disturb you anymore. Jian Dongming said with a smile, and then said goodbye. Jin Yun hung up the phone, but she felt disgusted. What was wrong with her father? He could even say something like that. He was completely different from the loving and smart father in her memory. Chapter 317, Are You Stupid? Just as the call ended, Jian Yun received another message. It was from Jian Dongming. Yun Duo, father is in urgent need of money. You need to do this as soon as possible. Jian Yun took a look and threw her phone to the side. Her heart seemed to be stifled with anger. She felt so uncomfortable that she wanted to scream. Jian Yun lay down for a while and then picked up the necklace box on the bedside table. She took out the necklace and touched the cloud character in the middle of the heart-shaped pendant. She was in a daze. She had forgotten to ask Jian Dongming why he suddenly gave her the necklace. It was the same necklace as Lin Lanlan. Did she want to call to ask? Jian Yun hesitated for a moment. She put the necklace down and put it in the drawer. Forget it. Jian Dongming was looking for her this time because he wanted to sell the company. So, he would definitely continue looking for her. At that time, even if she did not ask, he would tell her his purpose. The next day was Saturday. Jian Yun and Wu Wenjing had arranged to go to see the car. She had already thought about the price and did not spend much time to decide. She paid the down payment and arranged the time to take the car. They went to Luo Yanyan's house again. On the way, Wu Wenjing kept looking at Jian Yun. Why are you looking at me? Jian Yun was confused. Are you stupid? You don't carry a golden turtle as big as President Huo, but you still want to buy your own car. Wu Wenjing looked like she did not know what to do. Isn't it good to be self-reliant? I'm not with him for his money. Jian Yun curled her lips and did not think much of it. You are right. Wu Wenjing tilted her head and looked conflicted. I keep feeling that something is not normal. It is very normal. Jian Yun rolled her eyes at Wu Wenjing, unhappily. Didn't you say that it is not easy to marry into a wealthy family? You must have a backbone and cannot be looked down upon by others? Yes, but Jian Yun, will President Huo really marry you? Men like them are usually not willing to be bound by marriage. Furthermore, his family background. Sigh, why am I so worried? Wu Wenjing said as she drove. What are you worried about? Jian Yun's heart moved and she asked curiously. I used to think that you and President Huo were a good match. He likes you, and I'm happy for you. But now I'm worried that if you have a deep affection for him and his family does not agree to your marriage, as time goes by, he will have a new feeling for you and fall in love with others. You are also a stubborn person. You will definitely not let go. Then what should we do? Wu Wenjing sighed. Hey, Wu Wenjing, can't you say something nice? Jian Yun's mouth twitched. She was really speechless. She did not think that much. Sounds nice? Wu Wenjing thought about it. Why don't you quickly get pregnant and give birth to a baby? Even if you can't tie President Huo up, at least he has to consider having a baby. He will not be too cold to you. Are you stupid? Wu Wenjing asked. Using the method of tying a man with a baby is already out of date, okay? Jian Yun patted Wu Wenjing. Then what should we do? Why don't you apply for a class and study in bed so that President Huo can't stop wanting you? If you leave, you won't be able to live. That's a good idea, Wu Wenjing said with a smile. Wu Wenjing, concentrate on driving your car. Stop bullshitting here. Jian Yun's face turned red from Wu Wenjing's shameless words and could not help but spit on her. Yo, your face is red. Haha, Jian Yun already lives with President Huo. Don't tell me that you two are still innocent until now. Wu Wenjing squeezed her eyes in an ambiguous manner. She liked to see Jian Yun's red face and shy appearance. Quickly tell me, are you guys gradually entering a good state? How is President Huo's skill? Did he stop you from getting drunk? Wu Dazhuang, shut up. Besides, I kicked you out of the car. Jian Yun was so embarrassed that her hair was smoking. She roared at Wu Wenjing and could not bear to listen anymore. She was not open to the extent of discussing that matter with her best friend. Hey, I'm driving. Don't. Can't I just stop? Wu Wenjing saw that Jian Yun was really angry and quickly begged for forgiveness. We are all experienced people. What does it matter if we talk? Who wants to talk about this with you? You don't even have a man. Jianyun sat back and stared at Wu Wenjing. Who said I don't have a man? I've already decided to get married. Wu Wenjing straightened her back and spoke without stopping. Go and get the certificate next week. Really? Jianyun was shocked. It's fake. Ha ha ha. Wu Wenjing laughed first. When the two of them arrived at Luo Yanyan's house, they found that it was Luo Yanyan who opened the door. Yanyan, why are you up? Jianyun quickly put down her bag and went to help Luo Yanyan. I'm fine. Luo Yanyan smiled and pushed Jianyun's hand away. 2 days ago, when I went for an obstetrician examination, everything was normal. The doctor said that we can exercise appropriately, and I plan to go back to work next week. Don't. You work too far away and drive so bumpily. It's better to rest at home, Wu Wenjing quickly said. I will stay in the school dormitory and not drive back and forth. Luo Yanyan said. She immediately sighed. What can I do if I don't go to work? I have already deducted all my wages. I don't have much money to begin with. After taking sick leave, I only have less than 1,000 yuan left. Does Qingdong not have money? Besides, you have to think about your own health. Jianyun did not agree. My body is fine. The last time I bled was because my mood was fluctuating too much, and I was angry. Now that I have thought it through, there's nothing that can anger me. As long as I am fine. Luo Yanyan asked Jianyun and Wu Wenjing to take the fruits themselves and pour water to drink. She then sat on the sofa. Where's Aunt Qingdong? Wu Wenjing looked around but did not see anyone at home. She has something to do at home tonight. She will come back tonight, Luo Yanyan said. Yanyan, you should rest for a while longer. Wait until the month is a little older and you can think about going to work when it is stable. Jianyun suggested. Generally speaking, after 3 months it will be about time. But I think since you have a precedent for premature abortion, it is better to be careful. Haha. Why does this sound like Jianyun? You are very experienced? Luo Yanyan looked at Jianyun and her eyes fell on her stomach. She blinked. Could it be that you also have little Huo Liancheng in your stomach? I really look forward to that. How beautiful you and Huo Liancheng's child should be. That's right. I look forward to it too. Wu Wenjing quickly agreed. Her eyes were sparkling. Jianyun, if you want to give birth, you should give birth to a few more. 5 is the best. You and President Huo's child must be so beautiful. There are still 5. Do you think I'm a so? Jianyun got angry when she heard that. She slapped Wu Wenjing on the head. If you can give birth to President Huo, why don't you be a so? Wu Wenjing laughed. Damn, you changed your ways to scold us. Jianyun rushed over and fought with Wu Wenjing again. However, she was also thinking about the bet with Huo Liancheng that night. She did not know if she had won the prize or not, because she did not take any measures these 2 times. Now, she could not tell whether she was looking forward to winning the prize or afraid that she was really pregnant. Chapter 318. You're a real prodigy. After staying at Luo Yanyan's house for a day, Jianyun and Wu Wenjing left in the evening. When they were downstairs, they happened to meet Auntie Chen. Auntie Chen welcomed them warmly, especially when she saw Jianyun's cool supercar beside her. The smile on her face was even more blinding. Why did you go back now? Go and chat with Yanyan again. I bought a lot of dishes and stay for dinner tonight. Aunt Chen held Jianyun's hand and kept persuading them to stay for dinner. No, Auntie, we have an appointment. Come back another day. Wu Wenjing interrupted. Yes, Auntie, come again next time. I really have something to do today. Jianyun could not stand the way Auntie Chen looked at her and hurriedly wanted to leave. What are you doing another day? Let's do it today. Auntie Chen did not say anything and forcefully pulled Jianyun upstairs. Jianyun could not break free and could only turn her head to look at Wu Wenjing. Her intuition told her that Aunt Qingdong would not only be warm to her for no reason, but also something must have happened to her. Wu Wenjing naturally saw it long ago and gave Jianyun a look. She did not decline and went upstairs together with her. Aunt Chen chatted with Jianyun as she walked. Although it was just a family short, in the open and in the dark, she was trying to get Jianyun to say something. She was also asking where her house was. Jianyun did not know where she was staying now and could only vaguely respond. When they finally arrived at Luo Yanyan's house, Aunt Chen used the key to open the door. Luo Yanyan saw Jianyun and Wu Wenjing and could not help being very surprised. Didn't you say that we have an appointment tonight? Why did you come back? Jianyun helplessly looked at Aunt Chen and Luo Yanyan raised her eyebrows. Before she could open her mouth to ask, Aunt Chen already said with a reproachful face, Yanyan, your classmate came to see you. Why don't you take people to eat? Fortunately, I came back just in time to meet them. Otherwise, if others found out, they would think that our family has neglected our guests. After saying that, Aunt Chen did not give any explanation and let Jianyun and Wu Wenjing accompany Luo Yanyan. She pulled Luo Yanyan and whispered a few more words before she went into the kitchen to busy herself. What's going on? Jianyun asked Luo Yanyan with the shape of her mouth. Sit down and talk. Luo Yanyan called Jianyun and Wu Wenjing to sit down. Then she looked at Jianyun and sighed. Originally, I didn't want to say anything. Since we have already met, I will tell you. Is there really something? Jianyun opened her eyes wide and was confused. But can I do it? I'm not looking for you. Luo Yanyan curled her lips and pointed at the kitchen with her chin and said in a low voice. The last time you came, didn't you get a call from your big handsome Huo? She heard what we said. She knew it was Huo Liancheng, so she asked me who Huo Liancheng was. I didn't care, so I told her and asked her to search online. Then she remembered him. Did she miss Huo Liancheng? Jian Yun's eyes twitched, and she asked with a conflicted expression. Could it be that she is also a fan of Huo Liancheng? Is she secretly in love with Huo Liancheng? Do you want to see Huo Liancheng or something? Luo Yanyan was thinking about how to say what Aunt Chen had entrusted to her when she suddenly heard Jian Yun's words. She immediately spat. I say, Jian Yun, although your family's handsome Huo is very handsome, but Aunt is almost 50 years old. Then what does she want to do? Wu Wenjing drank a mouthful of milk and suddenly said, Could it be that she wants to go through the back door? Through the back door? What back door? Jian Yun was even more confused. Stupid. Luo Yanyan pointed at Jian Yun. I'm not stupid even when I'm pregnant. Why are you stupid? Looking for handsome Huo is just to enter the Mings. Enter the Mings? Then he can just apply for the job himself. Why did he need to find someone? Jian Yun could not understand. It would be great if he could apply. Luo Yanyan sighed. Qingdong's cousin is a bit introverted and does not know how to communicate with others. He stutters when he speaks and goes out for the job. No one wants him at all, so he is feeling more and more inferior. Jian Yun could not help but support her forehead when she heard that. There's no point in looking for Huo Liancheng. It's not like you guys don't know about that person. He's meticulous in his work. It's impossible for him to want a useless person. It is useful. Miss Jian, don't misunderstand. Before Luo Yanyan could say anything, Aunt Chen, who had been busy in the kitchen, suddenly ran out and said excitedly, Although my Xiao Tao doesn't know how to get along with people, he is really a genius. His computer is very powerful, really. Computer? Jian Yun looked at Luo Yanyan. Nowadays everyone knows how to use a computer. She did not know what Aunt Chen was talking about. Furthermore, Aunt Chen had been listening to them all this time. Then what she just said. Sigh, so embarrassing. Really, Li Tao studied computer science in university. He is indeed a genius in this aspect. There are all kinds of programming and so on. Jian Yun, I can guarantee this. Luo Yanyan said, Seriously, why don't you go ask and see if there's anything that does not require communication with others and is related to computers? Let him try. Miss Jian, I beg you. My family's Xiao Tao is really very powerful. It was because he was beaten up by his father many times that he closed himself up. He went out to look for a job, but could not find it. If he keeps staying at home, his condition will be even worse. Please give him a chance, okay? Auntie Chen also begged. Jian Yun was very helpless and also very conflicted. Auntie, I can only go back and ask, but I can't guarantee the specifics. It's fine, it's fine. Ask. If there is, there is. It doesn't matter if there isn't. I'm in a hurry too. I want to give it a try when I have the chance. Auntie Chen wiped her face and smiled. I'm going to cook. Aunt Chen went into the kitchen again. Jian Yun looked at Luo Yanyan and Luo Yanyan shrugged. She said in a low voice, He is usually very strong, just like Qingdong's mother. But when he mentioned his son, he could not do it. Sigh, he pitied the parents of the world. Li Tao was a talented person. It was indeed a pity that his father was an alcoholic and beat him up. This child was timid and autistic since he was young, but he was very smart. The next time you come, I will call him too. You will know when you see him. Jian Yun, you don't need to feel pressured. If you can help, then help. If not, I'll do my best. Jian Yun lowered her head and thought about it. She felt that this matter did not need to alarm Huo Liancheng at all. She just needed to look for Cheng Muzi. Later, she would send Cheng Muzi a WeChat message. Aunt Chen's cooking was indeed very good. Jian Yun and Wu Wenjing's meal did not taste right because Aunt Chen's tears flowed as she ate. She kept talking about her son's matter, which made Jian Yun feel a little sympathy for her. It seemed that no matter what kind of family it was, the lack of fatherly love would affect the growth of the child. If his father was an alcoholic like Aunt Chen's husband and did nothing outside, he could only find his presence at home and beat up his wife and son. Then the child who grew up in such a family was destined to be a tragedy. After the meal, Jin Yun and Wu Wenjing bid farewell. In the car, she could not help but sigh. Wu Wenjing. Right now, I feel that you are really a weirdo. Hey, how did I provoke you? How can I scold you? Wu Wenjing was dissatisfied. I was clearly praising you. Jian Yun took the time to pat Wu Wenjing's head and sighed. Look at you look so good. Actually, what Jian Yun wanted to say was that since Wu Wenjing was young, her parents did not care about her. She completely relied on herself to live like this today was already very impressive. Chapter 319. Be careful that I let green grass grow on your head. Jian Yun did not go home tonight. Instead, she went to the hospital to accompany Wu Yangfei. The mother and daughter chatted for a while. Jian Yun told Wu Yangfei that Jian Dongming had called last night. When Wu Yangfei found out that Jian Dongming actually wanted to sell the company, she only smiled faintly. Let him be. I no longer have any expectations for him. Yun Duo, quickly settle the divorce procedures. I do not want to take advantage of him. But Mom, Dad wants to sell the company to Liancheng. Jian Yun was at a loss for words. Wu Yangfei heard this and narrowed her eyes. Then she said in a deep voice, just pass on the message and leave the rest to Liancheng. But no matter what Liancheng does, you better not interfere. I know. Jianyun nodded. It was late at night. Jianyun finished washing up and did not speak anymore. Huo Liancheng did not call her tonight. She kept holding her phone until it was past 11 o'clock. In the end, she did not know when she had fallen asleep. The next day at noon, Grandma and Grandpa came. Seeing Jianyun, the two elders were very happy. They asked her how she had been playing in the capital a while ago. Then Grandma brought a piece of joyous news to Jianyun. Ouyang Beicheng was getting married. Little uncle with who? Jianyun was shocked. Don't you know? Isn't it that classmate of yours, Bai Yanran? Although she is 8 years younger than Beicheng, she is still very mature. I heard that after chasing Beicheng for many years, there shouldn't be any trouble. Grandma's eyebrows and eyes were full of smiles. She looked very satisfied with Bai Yanran. I'm going to make a phone call. Jianyun felt that Ouyang Beicheng and Bai Yanran were too unkind. At least she was helping them connect. How could she not be the first to know such a big thing? When the phone was picked up, Ouyang Beicheng's deep voice sounded. Today was Sunday and he was obviously resting. The surroundings were very quiet. Little uncle, you are too unkind. Jianyun complained. You did not tell me you were getting married. Are you being kind? Ouyang Beicheng sneered. You found out so soon? Did Mom tell you? Yeah, where's Yanran? Jianyun was not really angry. She was even more curious about why Ouyang Beicheng and Bai Yanran were suddenly getting married. Didn't Bai Yanran just get married not long ago? She's cooking. Ouyang Beicheng said in a deep voice. Little uncle, why are you guys getting married all of a sudden? Don't you want to drag Yanran down? Jianyun could not help but ask. Ouyang Beicheng was silent for a long time and suddenly said, You are going to be the elder sister? Elder sister? What do you mean? Whose elder sister am I? Jianyun was suddenly stunned when she was halfway through her sentence, and then she screamed, I won't make Yanran pregnant. It's so explosive. Ouyang Beicheng put his phone back to his ear. Okay, we have decided to get the certificate first. The wedding date is set for September. I will tell you first. Are you satisfied? I am satisfied. Jianyun smiled. She was already very happy in her heart, but she also knew that Ouyang Beicheng was a big man and would definitely not tell her the details. Later, she would call Bai Yanran to ask about it carefully. Why did the situation suddenly turn for the better? Jianyun and Ouyang Beicheng exchanged a few more words and ended the call. She turned her head and saw Baizé standing behind her. He looked at her with a strange expression. Director Bai, Jianyun smiled. Long time no see. Long time no see. Baizé also smiled. He looked at Jianyun and raised his eyebrows. You have become prettier. Thank you. Jianyun pursed her lips and lowered her eyelashes. Then she smiled. Thank you for taking care of my mother. Of course. Baizé stared at Jianyun, but his eyes were hidden behind the lenses, so Jianyun could not see his expression clearly. She could only see the unfamiliar smile at the corner of his mouth. Then, Director Bai, you can go ahead. I will go in and see my mother. Jianyun originally wanted to tell Baizé about Bai Yanran. After all, once Ouyang Beicheng and Bai Yanran got married, they would be considered a family. But Baizé's coldness made Jianyun not know where to start. She could only smile and say goodbye. Baizé watched Jianyun's back disappear for a long time before he sighed and turned around to leave. Jianyun stayed until night before returning home. Originally, she was going to Bernard's house in the afternoon, but Mrs. Bernard had something to do and her trip was cancelled. At night, Jianyun had just entered the house when she realized that something was wrong. There was someone at home. The only person who could enter Huo Liancheng's house was the auntie who came to clean every day. At this time, it was impossible for the auntie to come. Jianyun wrinkled her nose and sniffed. There was a familiar and good smell in the air, and the corner of her mouth could not help but raise. Jianyun immediately heard Huo Liancheng's voice. Are you a puppy? Do you still need to smell it before entering the house? Jianyun looked up and saw Huo Liancheng standing in front of a study room with his arms crossed, looking at her coldly. It seemed that someone was not in a good mood. Jianyun thought to herself and rolled her eyes. Was it because she did not see her when she came back? When did you come back? Jianyun walked 2 steps forward and asked. Do you care? Huo Liancheng said coldly. If I am not at home, you can go and have an old relationship with me. A date? However, before Huo Liancheng could finish his sentence, his vision blurred. Then a soft and fragrant body threw herself into his arms. Jianyun hugged his slim waist and rubbed her face against his chest. She laughed and said, Yes, yes. I just met my number 1 and number 2 lover. There are still 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 waiting in line for me to pamper her. Why did you come back so early? You ruined my plans. Shut up. Are you trying to anger me to death? Huo Liancheng heard that. When Jianyun threw herself into his arms, a little bit of happiness disappeared from Huo Liancheng's face. You're the one who said that I would go see my old friend. People, I'm so honest. Shouldn't you praise me? Jianyun raised her head and winked at Huo Liancheng. What should I praise you for? I'm praising you for cuckolding me. The corner of Huo Liancheng's mouth twitched as he hit Jianyun on the head. Jianyun wrinkled her nose and rubbed her head. Hit me again. Be careful. I will make you have green grass growing on your head. You dare. Huo Liancheng suddenly picked Jianyun up and fiercely kissed her. Do you believe that I will fuck you now? Hey, hey, hey! Jian Yun could not help but blush when she saw how shameless he was. She spat lightly, but her hands still wrapped around his neck. Don't you miss me? Huo Liancheng liked to see Jian Yun blush the most. Although they had only separated for 2 days, he already wished that he could suppress her now. That kind of wonderful feeling, once he tasted it, he would never be able to forget it. If I say I don't want to, will you be angry? Jian Yun tilted her head. She did not want to follow Huo Liancheng's words. Why would I be angry? Huo Liancheng narrowed his eyes and sneered. He suddenly walked to the side of the sofa and pressed Jian Yun down. His big hand had already reached into her clothes and grabbed her breasts. I will wait for you to cry and beg for mercy. Chapter 320. It was obvious that he was cheating. Hey, hooligan. Jian Yun was embarrassed. She reached out to block Huo Liancheng while trying to get up. She did not want Huo Liancheng to get her hands on her. How can this be called playing hooligan? Huo Liancheng was not satisfied. He turned Jian Yun's face and looked down at her. Can you cooperate? How can I cooperate? Jian Yun turned to look at him. Her big eyes were bright like beautiful black diamonds. You have seen that kind of movie before. It is just like inside. Huo Liancheng's eyes became darker. His big hands moved about irregularly, and his lips flowed into Jian Yun's ears. When Jian Yun heard this, she was already so embarrassed that her entire body seemed to be on fire. She could not even raise her eyelids. She had watched those movies before, but she was still curious to watch them together with her roommates when she was in college. At that time, they could still laugh and discuss techniques and postures, but now that it was her turn, she could not let go no matter what. Huo Liancheng was very patient. After coaxing and coaxing, Jian Yun just nodded and replied to him in a rough manner. Strong affection, charming and moving. When love reached strong, both of them had opened their hearts. Huo Liancheng took off Jian Yun's underwear and was about to attack the city when he was suddenly stabbed by a beautiful red light. His movements suddenly stopped. What's wrong? Jian Yun was panting from being teased. When she saw Huo Liancheng stop his actions, she could not help but open her eyes and look over. She found that Huo Liancheng's expression was strange. He was staring at her underwear. Jian Yun was a little embarrassed. Although she had come into contact with him many times, she was still not used to being stared at like this. What are you looking at? Jian Yun got up and also looked over. When she saw it, she was stunned. Why was it red? Where did you bleed? Jian Yun looked up at Huo Liancheng. Huo Liancheng's mouth twitched. He was speechless. It's clearly you who is bleeding below. This is your underwear. Jian Yun blinked and then lowered her head. This time she completely reacted. Her menstrual period came to report in advance. Jian Yun immediately pursed her lips and forcefully held back her laughter. Still smiling. Isn't it not time yet? Why did the period come early? Huo Liancheng said angrily. He really wanted to beat people up now. His brother was ready to fight valiantly. He did not expect that the target would have an obstacle. It was really going to kill people. I don't know either. I think his medicine was messed up. Jian Yun endured the pain with a smile. She already got up and wrapped her clothes around her as she rushed to the washroom. 2 minutes later, Jian Yun came out of the restroom and found Huo Liancheng waiting outside the restroom. What is it? Jian Yun wanted to ask him if he wanted to go in and take a shower. But he picked her up again and put her on the sofa. She suddenly became nervous and reached out to push Huo Liancheng. Hey, I have menstruation, but you still came. You are not such a beast, are you? Huo Liancheng grabbed Jian Yun's hand and used his chin to rub her face. Help me. Jian Yun saw that he was not thinking about that and then let out a sigh of relief. But then she looked at him in confusion. How can I help you? Huo Liancheng looked at Jian Yun. His eyes were so deep that it seemed like ink could drip out. He reached out and pointed his long index finger at Jian Yun's lips. Help me this way. Jian Yun was stunned and her face turned red. She immediately became angry. Why are you so shameless? I don't want it. Huo Liancheng raised his eyebrows and said shamelessly, How can you be so shameless? Didn't I give you that too? Don't you like it very much? Jian Yun's face was already red and purple. Her mouth was bulging, but she could not say anything to refute. She could only glare at Huo Liancheng angrily. She really wanted to say that he wanted to give her that, but she was not willing. But she also knew that saying this was equivalent to saying it for nothing. But if she wanted to do that, she could not accept it. There must be a first time. Be good, I have taken a bath. Huo Liancheng's eyes lit up when he saw Jian Yun's expression loosen a little. He gathered his strength to coax her. Jian Yun was in a difficult position, but in the end, she could not persuade Huo Liancheng. She still obeyed him. When everything was over, Jian Yun only felt that her cheeks were sore to death. She swore that she would never believe his nonsense again in the future. Jian Yun rinsed her mouth several times before feeling that the taste was gone. When she saw Huo Liancheng staring at her and smiling, she could not help being angry and did not want to bother with him. But Huo Liancheng obviously did not want to let go of the tune. He hugged her and sat on the sofa, asking, What is the relationship between the person you told Chengmu's and you? Jian Yun blinked. It has nothing to do with me. He is Luo Yanyan's husband's cousin. Yesterday, when she went to her house, Aunt Qingdong asked her to help find out. She said that this child has autism, but he is indeed a computer master. I wanted to ask Cheng Mu's. Huo Liancheng nodded. Then why don't you tell me directly? It's such a small matter. Why would I bother you? Jianyun hesitated for a moment. She wrapped her arms around Huo Liancheng's neck and asked in a low voice, Have you been thinking of buying any companies recently? Huo Liancheng was playing with Jianyun's hair. When he heard this, his sword-like brows raised. He asked in surprise, Why are you suddenly concerned about this? Jianyun bit her lower lip and lowered her eyes. She said in embarrassment, I am not concerned. I am asking for help. Who? Huo Liancheng lifted Jianyun's chin and let her look into his eyes. My father. Jianyun did not hide anything and told him what Jian Dongming had said on the phone yesterday. Your dad's company? Jian Dongming asked. Huo Liancheng frowned. He looked a little strange. Is it called Xunmao? Yes. Jianyun quickly nodded. Huo Liancheng looked at Jianyun strangely. He looked like he wanted to say something, but did not. If you have anything to say, just say it. Don't worry about anything. Jianyun remembered Ouyang Fei's words. She wanted her to not interfere with Huo Liancheng's decision. She also understood that he was the leader of the company after all. If he wanted to purchase any company, he would definitely need to evaluate it. He could not allow any company to enter for. I said you can't be angry. Huo Liancheng was still deliberating. I'm not angry. Jianyun had already guessed it in her heart, but she still wanted to hear what Huo Liancheng was thinking from his mouth. Your father did look for me before, but do you know that his company is only an empty shell? Huo Liancheng told the truth. When Jian Dongming looked for him, he was not in the country, so he sent someone to take care of it. After checking, he found out that the company Jian Dongming wanted to sell had suffered losses over the years and still owed the bank tens of millions of loans. Although the money was not worth mentioning to him, the acquisition of the company had to be approved by the board of directors. So he did not agree for Immerse. He did not think that Jian Dongming would want Jianyun to be a lobbyist and even wanted to use this method to get money. Is it really an empty shell? Jianyun was shocked. She knew that the Jian family's company was not doing well, but she did not expect it to be so serious. Then why does my father still want to? Jianyun suddenly stopped. Her father knew that the company was in debt, but he still wanted Huo Liancheng to pay for it. Wasn't the purpose of this obviously to cheat money?